Hey Homestead family, today we are in the kitchen and starting a crock of fermented cucumbers to make old-fashioned pickles. Okay, welcome back, and we are going to go through the ingredients that we need for this fermenting process. First of all, let me say that so many of the pickles that we eat today, the kinds that you buy from the store, are made from a pickling vinegar, and that is not fermented, the same thing as fermented pickles. And this acidic vinegar, while it may taste good, it kills the fermentation and the good probiotics that grow when we ferment pickles in the crock. So we're not going to be using a pickling vinegar for this recipe. Okay, so the spices that I'm going to put in there, I'm going to be using coriander seed. I'm going to use a little bit of the crushed pepper flakes. I'll be using some mustard seeds, some whole peppercorns, some pickling spice, and I have a little bit of garlic I'm gonna put in there. Also, dill, fresh dill. We aren't actually growing dill in the garden this year, so we had to go buy some. And then bay leaves. And one of the reasons that we're using bay leaves is because of the tannins in the leaves. Helps give a crispiness to the pickles themselves when we add that to it. I might also add that tea leaves also have tannin in them as well. So if you don't have bay leaves, you could use tea leaves. You could also use like grape leaves, any kind of thing like that that has the tannin in them. You can include that in your fermentating process. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is make our brine, and I'm going to be using 6 quarts of water. Our water is well water. We don't have any chlorine in it, so if you do have chlorinated water, then you need to get distilled water or some other kind of bottled water that does not have the chlorine in it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add my 6 quarts of water to this, and to that I'm going to add a cup of pickling salt. Okay, so we're going to add a cup of pickling salt. You can also use like Redmond sea salt. The only thing that you don't want to use is any salt that's got iodine in it. So don't use iodized salt. We're going to let this kind of sit, dissolve the salt. This is just like room temperature water. We're going to set this aside and start packing our pickles in the crock. So we have washed our pickles, and the first thing that we need to do is cut off the blossom end of the pickle, just a real thin slice off the end. If you don't know which end is the blossom end, then you can cut off both ends of the pickle. Okay, so this is actually an actual blossom that hasn't been pulled off. So that's the blossom end, and I just want to cut that off. This prevents the pickles from getting a mushy spot on them and so they stay crisp. So we're just going to go through all the pickles. We're actually using 2 different types of cucumbers. We have Market More and National Pickling cucumbers, And I'm actually going to mix the two in the same crock because I want to go through the same process with them, and use the same spices with them. I want to see the difference in the taste of the Market More and the National Pickling cucumber. So I'm keeping everything else the same. The only thing different will be the cucumber itself to see which one I like better in this recipe. Also, be sure to check in the description down below all of the benefits of cucumbers and ways that they can be used and how good they are for you. There's actually more vitamins in a cucumber than you would expect, and it's some really fascinating stuff. To put our cucumbers in our crock and start layering cucumbers and the spices. So we're going to start just lining the bottom of our crock with the cucumbers. And we only want one layer at a time. See, so we start kind of with the big pickles in the middle and put the other pickles around it. So, okay, so we're going to put a couple of cloves of garlic.
It smells good.
It does, doesn't it? Okay, so we're going to add a couple of peppercorns. I will give you the exact measurements in the description of the video. We're going to put just a touch of pepper flakes just to give it a little bit of punch. Some mustard seeds. Some pickling spice. And this just has a good variety of spices in it. A couple of bay leaves. One nice big leaf. And then we're going to add dill. And just kind of spread that out like that. And then we're going to start our next layer. Okay, so we're ready for the salt water now, the brine. It has dissolved into the water, and we're going to be pouring it over this pickle, the cucumbers and the spices. But I just did want to let you know that the amounts of the different spices can vary, and you know what? Put what you like in there. Also, some people add onions, some people add peppers in there, sliced peppers. Whatever you like, that's what you put in there. And then the amounts can vary as well, so just put what you want. You'll learn what you like for your pickles. Okay, so we're pouring the salt water over the pickles now. And do you see how they're starting to float a little bit? That's okay, because we're going to put weights on them. Okay, so these weights came along with this crock. And the reason we do this is we just want to make sure everything stays under the brine, doesn't float up, because anything that gets above that liquid won't get fermented well. So if you don't have these weights, you can use like a not a paper plate, a real plate. And if that's not enough weight, you can even put like a cup with some water in it. Some people even use a Ziploc bag full of water to set on top of this to help everything sink down. So that's what we're gonna do. And then we add our lid to it, and we're gonna set it on the counter for a couple of weeks. Okay, so we're ready. We're just gonna check this every couple of days. In about 3 or 4 days, we will get a little bit of a bloom that comes up on top of that. And all you need to do is just scrape that out every day. After that part, you just check it daily and just make sure you remove the bloom. And in 3 or 4 weeks, you should have some delicious dill pickles. Hey guys, so thanks for watching. You guys be sure to hit that like and subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you can get updates on more pickling videos, because we'll be doing bread and butter pickles next. And don't forget, do your best.
And let God do the rest.
Bye-bye.